Hello, weirdos of the internet. Here I am again, sitting in my room, talking to a camera. Let's get into it. Well, I kind of forgot this even happened, and it just slipped my mind, I guess, until recently. I've been seeing a lot more stories about Danielle Cohn. I don't know what it is. I'm gonna call her Danielle Cohn because, like, we all know she ain't really 15. But anyway, so today I'm just gonna tell you my story about the time that I met Danielle Cohn and her mom and Mikey Tua and his parents, and at the time didn't know who they were, but now that everything's coming out, I'm like, oh yeah, this all makes sense. That weird family, yeah, totally get it. So yeah, if you want to hear my weird story about meeting Danielle Cohn's family on the Queen Mary in the middle of the night, like, keep watching. I also happen to have like pictures from when it happened because I was just taking pictures the whole night, so I'll like put them in the video because I'm sure there's gonna be people that are like, oh, you're just saying things, but I'll put the pictures in, whatever. If you don't really know anything about who she is or whatever, I'm gonna just go ahead and like link other videos for how I have come to know about what's going on, you know? So you can check that out. I don't really want to put any pictures that are like invading privacy, so I'll try to just put in some of the ones that just have like a background image or something, because I wasn't trying to. I was just filming and taking pictures the whole night because I always do when I go to the Queen Mary, you know, trying to get that ghost pic. But I'll put them in. Just a disclaimer, I'm new here and this is not at all the type of video that I thought I'd ever be making, and nothing that I've made so far. But it has been a really hot topic lately, and I just wanted to tell the story, honestly. I'll just be honest, I just want to tell someone the story, so thank you for listening because it makes me feel not so lonely inside. Okay, so basically I'm obsessed with the Queen Mary. I found out that it was driving distance from the city that I'm in and kind of freaked out because I didn't realize it at first. And ever since I figured that out, I've just been going there all the time. The ship is beautiful, it's a piece of history, it's also creepy, it's everything I love in one, so I've been going there all the time. And back in the middle of May, I want to say it was like the 14th, one of my cousins was visiting from back home. I'm born and raised in Hawaii, so all my 808 peeps, what's up? But so anyway, she was visiting from Hawaii and we decided to take her to the Queen Mary because it was her last night. Why not go get a drink at the bar? And then, you know what, let's go on the ghost tour because why not? So anyway, we decided to go and we're, you know, just doing our thing. Normal ghost tour. Had this awesome tour guide. What's up, Dylan? And we were just having a great time. And then we got down to the spot where there's like the most haunted room on the ship called like, I think it's B340, fact check me, I'm not positive. Anyway, it has all of these stories behind it, and so our tour guide took us right past the door and then kind of off to the side so that we wouldn't be disrupting the guests because there were guests staying in the room for the night. Anyway, we're kind of off to the side in this hallway and he is just telling us like the history of that room and all kinds of stories and whatnot. And while we're standing there, this man happens to walk out of the room and we all kind of make eye contact and look at him, and he looked like Samoan to us. And for anyone who is Polynesian, I'm Samoan, my cousin is Hawaiian, we're from Hawaii, so we see this other fellow Polynesian person, we get excited. It's a thing. I don't know, it happens everywhere that I go. So anyway, he's walking away or whatever, and then he ends up coming back while we're still there, you know, talking about the room. And my cousin, being the typical local girl, decides to just be like talking story with him, asking him, you know, like if he's Samoan and all this stuff. So long story short, yes he is, we're the same. So we start talking, and at that point, both Danielle's mom, Jennifer, and then Mikey's mom happen to kind of like pop their heads out, and they hear that and they're like, oh, you're Samoan? Like, so is Mikey and like his dad. And we're like, yeah, we just met his dad. You know, it's like this whole thing. And basically, Danielle's mom just is like, oh, are you guys doing like a ghost tour? Do you want to come in the room? Like, we'll let you come and see, which honestly was extremely nice of her. Like, I want to see that room, of course, and I didn't spend the money to rent it out. So I, at this point, don't know who these people are, but I just think of it as like this really nice lady aboard the ship that is gonna let us in. So we're like, yeah, we'd love to come in, like, please, this is a dream come true. And she stops us at the door and she goes, okay, I'll let you in, but you have to go and look up my daughter and her boyfriend on Instagram, and you have to start following them right now, and that's the only way you can come inside. And like, literally, we're like in the hallway about to walk in, and she's just like in our area, like being like, no, like you need to look them up right now. Literally watches us like all look on our phones and like follow request them. And at that point, when I saw her profile, I realized, oh, I've heard of this girl from like, you know, the whole pregnancy scandal and wedding scandal and all that. And I kind of put two and two together and was like, oh, like, yeah, I kind of know who this is, sort of. So anyway, they let us come into the room and we were taking pictures and everything. And so it's like, you know, Mikey's mom and dad, Danielle and her mom, Mikey, and then Danielle's brother, who, by the way, is super sweet, super down to earth, really cool. Like, that kid's cool in my book from what I know of him, which isn't much, but he seemed really nice. And then someone else, maybe like a manager or something, I don't know, some other guy was there. But anyway, we go in there and they're being really kind by letting us come in, and we're taking photos. We're, you know, not of them, but, you know, of the room itself. And, you know, Mikey's mom was like setting up the table that had all the like crystal ball and the Ouija board and things on it, and I'm like, oh, this is really nice. And so, you know, we're snapping pictures, you know, the tour guide is telling us more, we're having the chance to look around. It was honestly really cool, but the whole time, like, Danielle's mom was just kind of being a little strange. And again, at the time, I didn't know much about them. I just thought, okay, this is a little weird, I don't know what's going on. But basically, like, Danielle was sponsored by Bang energy drink, and so there was like a bunch in the room, and she just kept bringing up the fact that she was sponsored by Bang energy drink, and we're just like, yeah, like, that's awesome, but also like, okay, I got it, like, okay. But yeah, so we just keep on, you know, taking pictures and doing all these things, and she starts to tell us, like, it wasn't like Mikey or Danielle were the ones who were like trying to tell us everything. It was just like the mom was just like hounding all of us, being like, my daughter makes these videos and she does this and that, and tonight they're making a video, like, I rented this room out for, you know, my daughter, and they're gonna make a video in this room, and, you know, telling us what they were gonna do, basically. And in the moment, it was kind of confusing, because from what I saw of like her page before, after hearing about the scandals, I assumed this was a young girl who just had no parental supervision, especially filming a video of sleeping in a hotel room alone with your boyfriend. Again, I assumed zero parental supervision. So it was really weird that it was complete parental supervision, if not being orchestrated by your mom, you know? Like, it was just a weird thing that I didn't quite understand. It seemed to me like Mikey's parents were not super comfortable. I didn't really get a great feel with his mom just because I didn't interact with her a bunch, but Mikey's dad was leaving the room. He kept trying to leave, and he kept on saying like, yeah, I don't know, I don't like this, like, I'm just gonna go wait outside. Not outside the room, not outside on a different floor, but like off the ship, completely off the ship. If you've been to the Queen Mary, you have to go, you know, down the elevator, off of the ship, down another elevator, and then like there's the parking lot. And there was like a bench out there that he was just hanging out at because he was so uncomfortable. And that to me was really interesting and strange, that we had one parent that was just like trying to shove it down their throats of my kids are going to do this and that and all of these things, and you have to follow them and this and that. And like the kids themselves weren't even the ones who were trying to promote themselves at all. Like, not at all. In fact, they ended up coming with us for a little bit because, you know, they let us come into their room, so they kind of came with us for a little bit, and it was just one of those things where they seemed like normal kids, you know, like they weren't being anything weird. Like, the mom stayed behind and they just did their own thing. They weren't trying to be the center of attention. They weren't, you know, expecting any extra privileges or anything, you know. They just kind of were chilling and whatever, and to me does really seem like, looking back and piecing together my experience and now hearing what I'm hearing, like, yeah, the mom is definitely trying to control everything and trying to make it be a certain way and doing this and doing that and just overworking them. Because, yeah, when they were alone, they were just hanging out, you know? Just chilling. So, to me, it was just the weirdest thing to see this mom being like, you need to follow them on Instagram, and oh, they make these videos, and oh, we're gonna do this, we're gonna do that, and I'm gonna do this and that. Meanwhile, one of the parents of one of the children involved is so uncomfortable that he won't even, you know, be there supporting it. In fact, once the night was completely over, which was like a couple hours later, we were leaving, and when we were leaving, we saw Mikey's dad still sitting outside on the bench. We went and, like, you know, went to go talk to him and just see how his night was going and everything. And again, he seemed super normal. He seemed like a concerned parent. He seemed what I would imagine to be the appropriate reaction to this whole scenario. And I definitely got like a weird feel from the way that Danielle's mom was acting. I don't know if everyone felt that way. I know everyone I was with thought that it was really strange, but I mean, in the moment, again, I just thought nothing really of it because I didn't know much about any of this, and now that I've been seeing it, it's all kind of starting to piece together and make sense. I'm not trying to cause drama or anything crazy, it's just, it seems interesting to have all these different pieces of the puzzle coming together, and different people are speaking on their experiences, and it seems like we're getting a better idea of the situation, because clearly the people in the situation aren't exactly the people that are going to be telling the truth. So that's just my experience. I don't know, take from that what you want, but that's just what happened with me watching what unfolded on the Queen Mary that night, which, by the way, I watched the video, I had to cringe really hard. I mean, the Queen Mary is an amazing place, and it is definitely worth a visit, so don't let that video make you think it's some cheesy thing. You know, that hotel room is the only cheesy room on the whole ship. I think they kind of played it up, and now there's all these people going there to make these videos, and it kind of makes it seem like something that it isn't. So I still am in love with the ship, and I think everyone should take a chance to go and check it out, and ask for Dylan. He is the best tour guide you will possibly find. He is the absolute best. Thank you, Dylan, for all of your great tours. But yeah, that's my experience with the Cohn family, as I'm gonna call it, and I hope that you enjoyed this silly little story time. If you guys have any questions about that night or anything that I said, please feel free to comment them down below, and I'll go ahead and answer them gladly. And if you don't have questions about that, but you have just something you want to say about it, please, let's talk, because it seems like this story is getting crazier and crazier and crazier. So, you know, let's talk about it. Well, that's about all I have to say about that, so I'm gonna go binge watch some Netflix in bed with my cat. I'll talk to you guys later, whether you want it or not. But see you later. Stay spooky.